Yes, yes, I would take Steve Wilks today. What's good, people? It's your boy, Mr. Rome, Cowboys fan talk, right back. Like I never left. What's up with y'all, man? How y'all feeling? Hope y'all having a good evening. Listen, I was thinking today, I got a notepad. I jot down ideas, things to talk about, stuff like that. Sometimes I move things down that I'll talk about like in the future, like this whole running back situation. I want to talk about linebackers more in depth, free agent linebackers, drafting them and stuff like that. But what I always do is follow my gut and what's telling me, yo, you need to talk about this now. So sometimes I do push things back, and that's fine. But, I was really thinking about the Steve Wilks thing. And, the 49ers firing him was, kind of out of the blue and surprising. Everybody needs a scapegoat. Like right now in Dallas, the scapegoat is Dan Quinn. I don't get to set the scapegoat. It just kind of happens. Sometimes the media helps set it. Whatever happens, happens. And when you lose for a season, whether it's in the Super Bowl, whether you got blown out in the wild card round like the Cowboys, you got to find your scapegoat. And Dan Quinn has become the scapegoat. Now, I wasn't happy about how Dan Quinn prepped for that game. Me personally, this is personal opinion. You don't got to agree. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a lot of craziness going on with people's opinions. Like real, genuine beef going on out here when you don't agree with somebody's opinion. Check the comments, check Twitter. It's crazy out here. Maybe I'll touch on that later. But Dan Quinn not being prepared wasn't the only reason why we lost that game. The players weren't prepared properly. Mike McCarthy ain't prepared properly. The coaches didn't prepare properly overall. Our front office didn't give us the right personnel. We lacked in linebackers. Dan Quinn tried to scheme around it. It's all kinds of different things. It wasn't just Dan Quinn messed up, that's why we lost. No, Dak Prescott played bad. And y'all know I'm a huge Dak Prescott fan. Micah Parsons ain't quite get the job done. D-Law ain't have his best game. Like, only person that showed up seems to be Ferguson and Gallup out of everyone. So, the finger pointing, people going to do it regardless of what I say, because who am I? I'm just CFT. But Steve Wilks became the scapegoat for San Francisco. And fine, do what you got to do. That ain't my organization. We got our own problems over here. But to not consider him would be crazy. Now, I don't know what the Cowboys are going to do. It's all kinds of ideas we throw out there. We beg, we plead, we make videos, we kick our feet, we throw temper tantrum, all kinds of different stuff, and it don't happen. But Steve Wilks, we have an opening for where he can go. He cut his teeth as a DB coach. That's from what I researched. Maybe I'm wrong. What I researched. Some of these sites be having wrong information. DB coach, before he became a head coach. He has a defensive background, obviously, but I'm just saying, defensive backs. We have a passing game, not passing game coordinator, defensive passing game coordinator position. The position that Joe Witt held is open. Al Harris didn't move up. Al Harris is in the same slot. Joe Witt held this position. He left with Dan Quinn. Zimmer's here. I think bringing in Steve Wilks to fill that position that Joe Witt had would be perfect. Or he could just create a position. I think still Steve Wilks is a great defensive mind. I feel like he's caught the short end of the stick. He had a good defense in Carolina with not as many pieces as Dallas. Right? And then he became interim coach. From what I understand, players and other staff really, really wanted him to get the job. They ain't want him. Got let go. San Francisco had an opening because D'Amico Ryan left. They hired him. He had a top 5 defense this year. You can say, well, that's all just talent. Well, maybe it was. But Dallas has talent. And Mike Zimmer's incredible. I'm not here to hate on Mike Zimmer's football knowledge when I say he's incredible before the anger happens in the comments. But you can't have too many great defensive minds. that doesn't make sense. And if Steve Wilks is like, I want to go cut my teeth over here for, until I can get a chance because there's no more defensive positions open, coordinator wise, they come to Dallas. We can absolutely use you. I feel like Al Harris can learn some things from you. Sometimes, the enemy of your enemy is your best friend, right? Steve Wilks just got fired by the 49ers. It wasn't fair. It was wrong. He ain't happy with them right now. Come to Dallas. Teach us ways to attack this Shanahan tree. I know Zimmer has ideas, but I think it'll be perfect. And then we start talking about, with the Steve Wilks thing, I think, like I said, I feel like it'll be perfect, just to be clear. Then you start thinking about, okay, so how's we going to fill the staff out? Like the anger, the things I've been hearing today on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. I know, I bounce between both names. Is, Scott McCurley got to go. And I think he do too. I don't think he's great. I've heard some things behind the scenes that I'm not, privy to say. But I, through the grapevine, because I got a little bit of connections, just a little bit, not nothing too crazy, that he's just not great at his job. Some of the players don't respect him. Like, they go around him. Like, I'm going to leave it at that. He's just not the greatest at his job. And he has it purely because of his relationship with McCarthy. Like, seriously, McCarthy has guys he has, but on the defensive side of the ball, only one guy is a McCarthy guy, and it's been McCurley. And he brought him with him. And maybe that's the reason why he's still here. There's compromise. So I don't expect him to necessarily go because McCarthy has a little bit. He got some power. Maybe not all autonomy, but he got some power. And maybe he told Zimmer, look, man, rebuild your staff. But I need McCurley here. And I don't know. You never know. Maybe he got some dirt on McCarthy. You never know. It is what it is. But sometimes every staff ain't strong top to bottom. It just is what it is. Like, I hate it. And you can argue with me, who did McCurley have to work with and all that stuff. I'll say this, that you don't argue with Rome or CFT. I'm not the GM or a talent scout. I got yelled at months ago. If you go find the We Released Rashaan Evans video, look in the comments. Calling me an idiot. Go look at my tweets. If you think that this whole season is hinging on Rashaan Evans, you crazy. I was saying we need an actual linebacker. I got crucified for that. I was begging, hey man, please, can we just, even if you just keep them around for rundowns, we need actual linebackers. Go get more. That was me. So yeah, the front office failed, not having the proper personnel. And maybe Dan Quinn just had to work with what he had to work with. But I also got a mindset that Dan Quinn liked those tweener linebackers. He did. And I'm saying that, is that the whole reason why we failed? No. It wasn't just the run game, although we got punished. We was all over the place. So yeah, for that game, you want to say Dan Quinn holds a big reason of why we lost that game? Fine. But there's more reasons and more things to be mad at. And when I'm talking about building staffs and stuff like that, I feel like bringing in a new defensive coordinator allows you to bring in some new juice. Now we got to find a D-line coach. Like I said, another defensive passing game coordinator, like Joe Witt's job, and just other positions. I feel like Washington's built a pretty strong staff over there with just experience. And I feel like if we brought in some newness, it could help. But maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I don't want to fight, man. I'm going to say this real quick and I'm going to go. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. All the support. Seriously. All the new subscribers, people that's been rocking with me for years and everything like that. Y'all know Rome. Y'all know CFT, man. I talk a lot of trash, but it's football trash. I don't like disrespecting people personally and all that extra stuff. And I don't got no hate for nobody. But it's disheartening to start seeing, it ain't all love in these streets, man. It ain't all love out here in these streets as far as just like over opinions, over football opinions. And maybe it's deeper than that. But it's just, it ain't that serious, man. I got a wife and kids and friends and family. And I had a health scare a couple months ago. I don't know if y'all remember that. My blood pressure was crazy and things like that. I don't got time to hate on people, genuinely. I seriously, I try to be optimistic doing this thing. I wouldn't do content every day if I ain't love it, if I ain't love y'all. You know what I'm saying? I do content every day because it seriously, not to sound cheesy, it brings me joy. I rock with it. You know what I'm saying? If you rock with it too, just let me know in the comments. It's just one of those things where I don't want to do hateful content every day. I wouldn't do this. So if you want to be hateful and mad and angry and dislike people, man, to each his own, man. Do your thing. I'm not going to do that every day. Life hard enough. I rock with football content because it brings me joy. I'm not looking for something else to bring me anguish and frustration. But that's just me. It's your boy, Mr. Rome, man. Like I said, I feel like bringing Steve Wilks on would be a great thing. I do. I'm looking forward to the rest of how the staff is built out. And then we can start talking about some other things. Sorry to go off on a tangent. I ain't perfect. It is what it is. I'll holla.